Hi, I'm Trevor.
And I'm Kyle, and today Trevor will be catching up on cinema. Today is the Three Musketeers, 1993. Does this story by Alexander Dumas, dumbass?
Alexandre Dumas.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
It's Dumas, you dumb shit. This has quite a few film adaptations.
Oh yeah, no, this is like one of Hollywood's go-tos, and France. Everybody loves the Three Musketeers.
I think the last one was 2011.
Yeah, that was the Paul W.S. Anderson one.
Is Mila Jovovich in that?
Of course, it's his wife.
I don't remember her being in that.
And Logan Lerman, and I think Orlando Bloom's in there too.
I want to say it was the Luke Evans. I think Luke Evans might be in there.
Luke Evans is just like,
hi, I'm Luke Evans. Like,
yeah,
how did
it's
you get
just
here?
kind of like, okay, slightly tall, slightly buff English guy. It's like, there are him and Luke Goss need to be in a movie together. Do you know Luke Goss?
No, I don't.
Luke
recognize
Goss,
the name.
also sometimes shaven, like head shaved, British man, martial artist. Blade 2. He played the villain in Blade 2.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And then
the two of them are basically interchangeable, if you ask me. The only difference is Luke Evans got more big roles, whereas Luke Goss.
Hellboy 2?
Luke Goss does Death Race sequels.
He got to do 2 Guillermo movies, so...
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's... And, Guillermo likes hanging out with his buddies. I mean, he still casts Ron Perlman and stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another Luke Goss collaboration that only I will care about.
We have an exciting episode coming up here soon, and I think we're going to probably talk about Guillermo in that one. We're going to talk about some adaptations we'd like to see.
Teasers.
Yeah.
I like it.
This is directed by Stephen Herrick. Do you know what this guy has been a part of?
I don't. How about you educate me?
Okay. I didn't even know who this guy was until after I looked it up. He is a part of such movies as The Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
I believe he directed that. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Okay.
One of my favorite movies, Rockstar. It's one of Mark Wahlberg's very few good movies.
I've heard good things. I haven't seen it, but yeah, I heard it was pretty good.
I like it. It's hard to find a good Mark Wahlberg movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But yeah, if you want to say something about Mark.
There's too much to say about Marky Mark.
That's a whole different podcast.
Like that's another show altogether. We don't have time for
our
that.
Sidecast, Wahlburgers. 101 Dalmatians, the live action one, was
so
quite
he's
close.
in Disney's back pocket for sure.
And then I've heard this is a good movie, but I could be wrong. Mr. Holland's Opus.
Really?
I believe so. Yeah.
I adore that film.
I've heard it's really good.
No, my mom took me to see. I fucking saw a newspaper ad for this movie, like a tiny ass newspaper ad, and I was obsessed with like Jaws at the time. And I was a little kid because this was in theaters. I was like 6, maybe 7. And I begged my mom to take me to go see that, and she was like, "You want to go see? You want to go see old Richard Dreyfuss in a movie about music and stuff?" And she took me, and to this day I absolutely adore that film.
I mean, I don't even know what it's about. Is there music? Is there a band with that? I don't know. I feel like he was.
It's about a musician who, because you got to pay the bills, he gets his teaching license and becomes a high school teacher, just to keep the lights on. And in the meantime, he's trying to write a symphony. He's trying to write his own music, and raise a family, and be a teacher. And it's basically like a journey through his life. So you get to see the evolution of mainstream music through his eyes. So like from the 60s up until the early 90s.
Gotcha.
And it's a great ass movie. And funny enough, now that you mentioned that, Michael Kamen did the music for it. It's a bit of a spoiler, but there is a symphony at the end of the movie. Like 3 minutes of it, because we got to get home. It's like we got to wrap shit up. But Michael Kamen did the original music for it, and I noticed his name in the credits for the Three Musketeers. So surprised. I'm guessing he had a working relationship with him.
So one thing real quick. So he actually, the director of this movie, Stephen Herrick, actually does mostly TV now. I'm seeing a lot of TV.
That's not uncommon.
He also directed something you probably know of called The Chaperone. Starring WWE's own Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh, that's the one with the girl from Modern Family.
Is it? Where he's the school bus?
Yeah. I've seen trailers for it because I own an embarrassing number of WWF documentaries, and all of them push him as like the next leading man from Blade Trinity.
Oh, jeez, yeah. So I had Trevor. Now, if you didn't watch this movie in the 90s on VHS, you may not know that the movie actually opens with a music video. And it is a collaboration between Sting, Bryan Adams, and Rod Stewart. Now, I feel like Rod Stewart is way more famous than I actually know, because I've always just known him as that weird dude my stepmom kind of listened to sometimes. But apparently, he was a big fucking deal.
Yeah,
apparently.
no, he has a following, and I think that is unfortunately like his chief demographic
is my stepmom.
But there are a lot of those people. There are a lot of people who really like Rod Stewart.
I love the music video because it's just so cheesy. I think Sting is great though. The only thing is like Sting's kind of great.
It's a very subdued Sting actually.
Yeah,
like you can tell he's like, oh shit, I gotta share the stage with these guys.
They all kind of sound the same because they kind of sing like Alec Baldwin talks. I don't think that was on accident. And another thing, real quick, because Bryan Adams is Canadian. This is a very Canadian-heavy cast.
Very, very.
I noticed that.
You notice it.
I noticed
quite readily.
I learned quite a bit because I've seen this movie enough times. I was like, we're gonna do an episode on it. Great, I get to rewatch it. But because of that, I know where the dull parts are, and I can look up some stuff and just kind of.
That's the best part of revisiting a film like this is that I have tons of movies on my shelf that have like horrible pacing, but those enjoyable moments are so enjoyable, and so it's a good idea to just like have your phone out and like dick around on it, or like draw or something, and just you hear like the right music cue, or you hear that one line, it's like, oh, it's time to look up.
I'll click my phone off 2 minutes before Oliver Platt gets on the screen, so
I don't know, man. You could get into trouble with this one because like every time Tim Curry shows up, which is a lot.
Yes. It's his movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He knows it too.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about. Well, the movie is the Three Musketeers. I'm not going to. We don't need to explain it because it's the story.
Even if you don't know the fine details of it, which personally, unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah.
You know the broad strokes.
Yes.
You know D'Artagnan. You know there's 3 other Musketeers.
D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan.
So we'll just break it down. Chris O'Donnell, Robin plays D'Artagnan, who is going to Paris to be a Three Musketeer. Tim Curry has actually disbanded the Three Musketeers. He is Cardinal Richelieu. Richelieu. The king is played by some Irish dude who has a big pointy nose. He actually looks like a Disney prince.
You know, I saw this movie in the theater when it was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a different kind of catching up on cinema.
Yes.
Because I have zero memory of this film other than hating this kid.
Seriously.
Like he is engineered to piss off not even mature male. It's just like your animal instincts just tell you to hate him.
Well, I mean, kings were like that though. That's kind of how it went.
Well, yeah, he's sheltered. You're supposed to get that. Like he's barely gotten past the womb. Like
only other thing I've seen him in is Chocolat. It's chocolate, but Chocolat.
It is
with
chocolate.
Johnny Depp and homegirl from Godzilla 2014. I believe that's her.
Oh,
I think that's her. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, so so Tim Curry has a plot to overthrow the throne, and it's up to the Three Musketeers to basically stop it. Which is he's actually defeated by a punch. If you didn't know,
yeah, I don't think he came up.
He did not. He just got punched in the face.
Well, I mean, let's roll things all the way back to the beginning, okay? Because this is important to me. Because as a kid, especially, this is one of the few things I do remember. Very dark.
Dark opening.
We open in hell.
Seriously.
Like, we open on the river Styx.
So that's why this movie was... My brother and I watched it so much when we were younger. Because if it was on... my parents were visiting some friends and they were playing cards, like, here's the VHS player. Here's a whole bunch of movies we got. We got the ones at the top that you can't watch, but these are the ones you can watch. If we saw Three Musketeers, Mortal Kombat, or any Batman movie, it was like, we're going to watch these. This is what's going to be watched.
Given the choices, I probably would have done the same.
But this is one of those that I've just seen about as many times as Jurassic Park, if I had to guess. It's up there.
Yeah, but so we open and Tim Curry's like the first person we see, basically, and he's getting rowed into the dungeon
Yeah,
they have in the basement of the palace.
The palace,
I guess.
yeah.
I don't know. If
the palace dungeon, that sounds pretty standard.
Sure. Yeah. We see some eerie sights. It's very cold. It's like the coldest of cold opens. Like it's just like this is a kids movie, right?
It's dark.
Another thing that's really important to me, like putting this in context, is the way this film was advertised. I remember was screwball comedy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Oliver Platt was in every shot of the trailer. The gag where he slices the rope and the guy goes down the trap door. That was like the highlight of the fucking trailer.
Yeah,
that's what got my ass into the theater. And then we get this opener where it's like, okay, we're in hell. Nobody's talking. The music is creepy. There's a big giant man with a scarred up face who looks like he should be in The Rocketeer or something. Another Disney family film. Cameo that I'm not sure if you've noticed on the IMDb.
Before you even say it, I've got it written down.
Okay.
His name is Erwin Leder. He played Johann in Das Boot.
Yeah. Das Boot is a film that is very near and dear to Kyle's heart.
Love it.
He had me watch all 3 hours and 40 minutes.
3 hours and nearly 25 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much worth your time.
Absolutely.
And this gentleman is in the film for like 10 seconds. He has like a line.
Anyway, so he's very important to the plot because he's the engine room mechanic basically. So he's the one that makes.
In Das Boot, he is integral to the plot.
And he has a meltdown at one point. That's the one that the captain almost shoots.
Put it this way: the reason why I recognized him so easily was the Blu-ray you gave me. He's on the back of the box.
He's on the back.
He's on the box.
I did not give him the Blu-ray. I let him borrow the Blu-ray.
Yeah, no, that had to go right back. Yeah.
I don't want you guys to have some misconception. I'm just handing out Blu-rays of Das Boot around. You have to go get your own copy of that on Blu-ray. Highly recommend you buy it on Blu-ray. But yeah, so it's a very, very dark opening.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes we revisit this tone throughout the movie.
It's interesting you say tone because this movie, we've talked about movies not knowing what kind of tone they want. And in this case, there are several tones that we were just jumping back and forth from, like just from character to character. So one thing, Tim Curry is the only one I think who's in the right movie. I think that he's playing a good Disney villain. He's not over the top, but he has a very obvious presence just because of the way his face is.
He wears a fucking cape throughout the whole movie.
He wears a cape. He's the one who's in this movie. And I would say that Chris O'Donnell is too, because he's Luke Skywalker. He's going over the top a little bit.
He is Luke Skywalker.
And he's supposed to be a young kid.
Yeah, he's the bright-eyed young boy who is sincere and, is always going to make the right choice. Correct. Whereas the Musketeers are there more for the flavor, for the color.
Oliver Platt is... I would say he's also in this movie as well. Like, he knows what movie he's in.
The only problem with him is that I think he was nudged. Like, I feel like he was instructed to be that way, whereas Tim Curry is just like, I am. This is what I'm doing. Whereas Oliver Platt's like, producers or Disney or the corporate guys or whatever are saying, we need a funny guy.
We need a funny guy.
Be the fat funny guy.
Well, but yeah, Oliver Platt is good. Like, he's funny. He's the comic relief. So Porthos, I was gonna say Porthos has always been. It's supposed to be a funny character. Gerard Depardieu. I hate that man, the Iron Mask, but he's the best part of the whole movie. Every time he comes on,
absolutely.
And Porthos is, I'm assuming from the book, kind of the clown. Like, he's supposed to be the funny guy.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like a weird coincidence.
Yeah. So yes, he's playing Porthos. Athos is played by Kiefer Sutherland. Now, he is in a different fucking movie. He is in like a PG-13 or rated R Three Musketeers movie because his character's dark, and I think the character is supposed to be dark, but this isn't the right movie for that.
Well, it has a weird rhythm to it because we have these Three Musketeers who all in their own way serve as mentor to D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan.
And they all have different approaches to their mentoring.
Correct.
Where Porthos is kind of the, I don't know, takes everything with a smile. He's kind of cavalier. He seems to think of life as kind of one big joke, except for his musketeering. Athos seems like distracted, I guess, because he has his own subplot going on in the background that becomes integral to the main plot, but he's supposed to be like the grim, gritty leader, but at the same time he has too much baggage to the point that it's like he's setting a bad example to D'Artagnan as to what he should be. And then Charlie Sheen is mostly an afterthought in this movie.
I think that Charlie Sheen or Aramis, I think he is supposed to be some kind of... He's trying to influence him intellectually, I think is what he's supposed to. He's trying to teach him. I'm thinking more of like Jeremy Irons playing the character. I'm sorry. John Malkovich plays... No, John Malkovich plays Porthos.
Either way, you're asking Charlie Sheen to match wits with Jeremy Irons?
No. I'm sorry. Jeremy Irons, that was that character. Kiefer Sutherland's character... Athos was John Malkovich. Yeah. Nobody's doing a French accent in there except for the French guy. Just saying. But yeah, I think they're all like. I think that D'Artagnan's character is kind of like fresh out of boot camp kind of kid. He hasn't even gone through, but that's how he's just like bright-eyed and he's just one-dimensional about the whole thing. And they're like, you've got to relax. You're focusing too much on one thing. You got to wind down a little bit. Think about things. You're too hot-headed.
In their own way, the three mentors serve as like three different pillars of what it means to be a musketeer. Like they all have their different strengths. Where it's like Athos is like the reality of things. Mm-hmm. Aramis has the faith element, which in that era was very important in all aspects of life, especially in terms of like patriotism and things like that. And then Porthos, I guess, is like the humility. Like he's kind of the...
that's a good way to put it.
Not every aspect of being this warrior, this defender of the crown is going to be serious in like life and death. It's like you still need to live while you're at it.
One of the things I noticed about Porthos, Kiefer Sutherland's character, is that when he is drinking by himself, and he's like, oh yes, he takes his drinking very seriously. He goes over there. He's just drinking a bottle of wine. He has 3 bottles stacked up behind him. I noticed that watching it this time.
He was hitting it pretty hard.
Kiefer Sutherland was on 3 DUIs after filming this. Or during filming this movie, he was on his third DUI.
3.
Didn't
he get like at least 2 more when he was doing 24?
So he got... I think he had 3 at this point. He got his 4th one back in like late 2000s, early 2010s, right around there.
Jeez.
Yeah. But there's kind of a joke when they're in the carriage. He's like, we're in the middle of a chase. You're right, something red. So the three characters, Porthos, Oliver, Platt, we'll be talking about them by their actor names.
We'll
it's just easier
flip
that
back
way.
and forth, but keep up. Got to be quick.
So we have our character actors that we've introduced.
Well, they're introduced to us in a very clever way, though.
Very.
Very clever way. In fact, we should probably dial back a bit.
So, I was going to introduce one of my favorite 90s character actors, because he's in the opening scene.
Yes, this is true.
And he's another person who is kind of in a darker film with Kiefer Sutherland, I would say. Mm-hmm. And then there's one other character who's in a completely different movie, but we'll get to her. But Rochefort, who's played by Michael Wincott.
Michael Wincott.
And you should know from that voice exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah. The man who smokes like 2 packs in between takes.
I don't know how he doesn't have a hole in his throat.
I know, he's still kicking.
He's still going. He's still going. And he's Canadian. Oliver Platt's Canadian. Kiefer Sutherland is he was born in the UK, but of Canadian actors.
He's Canadian.
Bryan Adams is Canadian. I could have sworn Rebecca De Mornay was Canadian, but she's not.
Is Chris O'Donnell Canadian?
I looked it up. No, he's not. I double checked on that.
I'm disappointed.
I think he's like corn-fed Milwaukee or something like that.
Close enough.
Yeah. But there's quite a bit of Canada going on.
Secret Canadian.
But the music video, if you haven't seen it, and if you're going to watch this movie, absolutely look up the All for One music video.
Yeah, Kyle made me watch it before I watched the movie.
I love it.
He insisted, and I think it's worth it.
I think
it's worth your 3 minutes or whatever.
So let's go through D'Artagnan. He's in the middle of a duel.
Yeah, we're introduced to D'Artagnan mid-duel with I don't remember the fella's name, but he is a ponce.
He's the 4th one. I'm sorry, there were 4 people that are in completely different movies. He is in a fucking cartoon.
Oh yeah,
he's absolutely a cartoon character.
No, he's like the foppish Ponce that is like made up like with really colorful makeup. He's meant to look like a prissy fella. Mm-hmm. He's in a duel, I think, over his sister's honor.
Yep.
Because
banged his sister.
Chris O'Donnell was stooping his sister.
Yeah, this is some tight, Chris O'Donnell. Like, he's babyface before Robin. Like, he's looking good. So he's crushing it. He's crushing it.
Oh yeah, no, he's handling himself just fine. And they're having a really back and forth kind of standard fencing duel that you'd see in any swashbuckling movie. It's nothing complicated, but D'Artagnan has this guy dead to rights, but it's just toying with him. And then the dude's like four brothers roll up, and Chris O'Donnell has to take off on his horse, and he does his he leaps onto the horse, he leaps onto the saddle. It's a trick he does like 5 times in the fucking movie.
Thank you. I noticed it too. I'm like, he's legit doing that though.
Yeah, it's like he insisted that, no, I got to mount this horse.
I got to mount it.
Maybe he was a gymnast or something. I don't know.
The guy's 4 brothers: Andre 3000, Mark Wahlberg, Tyrese, and then that white kid from Friday Night Lights.
Get the reference?
They're all chasing. Go watch 4 Brothers. It's a waste of your Saturday. Yeah, so they're laying chase.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you what you thought about the chase scenes in this, and this is a good one to start with.
It's funny, the stunt work in this movie is it's praiseworthy, like old Hollywood kind of stuff, like lots of horse tumbles, lots of hard falls, like lots of crashes. And,
you can see some of the dirt, like
and they have those trained horses that are trained to take falls and like fall in a specific way, and supposedly they enjoy it. I've heard that's the case, but it's like old fashioned stuff that you saw in like old Hollywood movies before CGI, and back when stuntmen were like prized and valued, and they make good use of it all throughout the entire movie. The sword fighting is probably the least, actually. Yeah. But like the hard bumps and the falls and tumbles and stuff, A class shit.
Well, I read a couple places that Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, and Chris O'Donnell went through 6-month extensive fencing training.
Well, yeah, I didn't notice much doubling, which is always welcome. Like when you can tell, like that. Like, for instance, Mortal Kombat. When Lyndon Ashby, Johnny Cage, is fighting Scorpion. Yeah. There's certain angles that they keep pulling the camera way back. And that's when he's...
fucking Tom Cruise.
It's like, yeah, it may as well be. It's like, that's when he conveniently starts busting out the wheel kicks and the round kicks and stuff. But then when we get tight, all he's doing is like barroom brawl, like haymakers and stuff, and then we cut back to a wide angle and he's doing backflips and shit, and it's like really obvious doubling. But like the swordplay in this movie, you can tell they tried to have the actors do as much of it as they could.
Charlie Sheen was doing Hot Shots, filming Hot Shots at this time, or the minor league, maybe one of those.
Major League. Whatever. Yeah, I got that sense because his screen time is very limited.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, you would think that he would be like a huge part of it, being as he's one of the Three Musketeers. Yeah. And Charlie Sheen just has like a natural charm to him. He has that like almost Steven Seagal like quality to him, where it's like, what you're doing is not good, but
I like it.
But I like it. Yeah. Keep doing it. It's like your delivery is stilted and weird, but I'm fine with it.
See, I just think that Charlie Sheen is one of those guys that I can't take seriously. He's just funny.
Yeah. And he just kind of is kind of weird.
He tried out Wall Street, tried Platoon. Like, he did some serious movies, and those are both okay. I know Platoon is a big deal to some people.
It's a big deal to me.
Okay.
Wall Street also. Same director.
I liked Wall Street was pretty good, but like he's funny. And I think that he still had even his serious parts in this movie. I'm like,
like when he's confronting Tim Curry, he's like, "You are going to jail. I'm going to take you away." And it's like what?
You first. Yeah. So he's being chased by the brothers. He escapes them, and then does he pick fights first and then meet his girlfriend, or...
I think he meets the girlfriend beforehand.
Okay, so she's inconsequential.
Yeah, that whole scene starts out, like, even as an adult watching that scene, I was like, what's happening? Because basically what we have is a situation where we have some action in between, where, as Kyle mentioned at the top of this, Tim Curry disbands the Musketeers without telling the king.
Yep.
him and Michael Wincott, Rochefort, they disband the Musketeers. They have this pretty awesome scene where all the Musketeers are gathered in the palace square, and Rochefort dismisses all of them and basically says, if one of you resists us,
shoot the fuck out
we
of
will
you.
shoot the fuck out of you, because this is the age of gunpowder. And they do a good job of establishing that in this movie, where there's this, it's a fun thematic clash where you have guns and swords, and they exist in the same time period, and one has clear advantages over the other. But this is a story about musketeers who are, swordsmen who defend the honor of the king and have like a regal, like stoic way about them that is supposed to be about honor and stuff. Anyway, musketeers all throw in their shit. They burn most of their stuff and they leave.
Except for three. There are
three.
There are three musketeers that have decided not to do that.
Yeah.
And
they're the Joker in this situation. It's like, why do I care about him? We can take care of him later.
We can take care of them.
It's either one man or the entire mob. It's either three men or...
He can wait.
He can wait.
So, we were introduced by each of them by Chris O'Donnell, basically picking a fight with each one. And he has it coming with Kiefer Sutherland, because he's being a dick. He's being a dick to Kiefer Sutherland.
No, he had it coming.
And Kiefer Sutherland's not in a good mood. He's probably hungover.
Oh, he's super blessed.
He's like, I'm not in a good mood. And he's like,
if only they had sunglasses back then. He's
seriously.
Like,
do you got any lemonade or just something I can sip on that's cold? Yeah. He basically, he picks a fight with Kiefer Sutherland. And he's like, oh, you want to go duel? He's like, yeah, let's go duel. I'm like, all right, I'll see you there at noon. And then he leaves there, and he's being chased again by, I think, the brothers.
The brothers catch up to him in like the capital, I guess.
And he meets Oliver Platt, and he knocks some drink into his sash that was given to him by the Queen of America.
Yeah.
And like I said before, Oliver Platt is one of my favorite character actors. He's so funny. Michael Wincott as well, because he's just cool.
Yeah, cool is the right word.
He's just cool, man. He still smokes.
Well, I feel like I came up with like the best description of what he looks like.
Go for it.
Michael Wincott is awesome. Looks like a one-eyed French Steven Tyler.
He does. That is.
That's what I wrote on my notes while I was watching this film.
Yep, that is in this movie. Yes, that's exactly.
His hair is so big,
and this was Aerosmith,
and he's got sparkles.
Yeah,
he's got so many sparkles.
How tall is he? He looks like he's crazy short.
I think he's like 5'7" or something. He doesn't look like a tall guy. But yeah, so Oliver Platt says.
He's like, all right.
He's like, motherfucker, let's fight it. One.
Little pimple.
Yeah,
little pimple.
Little pimple.
It's such a good
Oliver Platt is always charming. I'm always happy to see him. He was in a Jackie Chan movie from 2012 called Chinese Zodiac.
Oh, wow.
He plays the ugliest of ugly Americans you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
And he's also like a government agent. He's basically like the bad guy in the movie, and he's meant to be the slimiest asshole possible, and he's very good at that.
Good? Oh, I want to
watch
that. He's
very good at... No, it's not good.
I want to see his parts, though.
Maybe I can make a super cut for you. But yeah, don't bother with the movie.
Charlie Sheen's character is... So they're going to duel, Oliver Platt and D'Artagnan, and now we're introduced to Charlie Sheen's character just fighting off this French lady.
Yeah, he's giving her, what, Bible study?
He's reading her Bible stories in English. I don't know if he's teaching her English or just Bible studies. I'm like, this is a ruse. Like, you know what you're doing.
Well, again, his delivery, it's like you can't quite tell though. It's like, are you supposed to be sincere right now? Are you actually a man of faith? Like,
I took it as funny.
I took it as funny, but later on in the movie, no, it's confirmed he is actually a pious man.
Yes. Well, the character of Aramis is supposed to be very pious.
Yeah. But it's Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I know.
He just looks confused all the time. Even when he's fighting people, he does a lot of... I don't know if like the choreographer caught on to like his facial acting or something, but he gets handed a lot of moves, like a lot of beats in the fighting, where he'll do stuff where he's like fighting people behind him without looking.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so I'm supposed to put my sword back behind me? Oh, I killed a guy. Whoops. I hope that wasn't real.
I won't do coke today if I can call him Cyclops. I won't. Don't touch it. I'll come straight.
By day, I mean 24 hours.
24 hours.
Exactly.
Kiefer, that has a nice sound to it, doesn't it?
So, hey, Kiefer, you want to hang out tonight?
I have a theory. I have no proof of this, but I think that Kiefer Sutherland was not allowed to hang out with those two because I think that Oliver Platt and Charlie Sheen were.
Oh, it was like the actors that some of the actors that played like Jason Voorhees. It's like, let's keep him separate from the cast. They should not be interacting in between takes.
Motherfuckers on probation.
It's like Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland cannot be together. We have a schedule to maintain.
Do you think you fuck with them? You're like, hey, could you drive us to Taco Bell? We're kind of at the drunk munchies here.
Yeah, he's like talking to one of the Teamsters with like sunglasses and like a hood on. I'm not Charlie Sheen, by the way. I'm Emilio Estevez.
I'm Emilio. So
long story short, Charlie Sheen is schmoozing with this lady. Her husband comes home. He don't like that.
Nope.
So he jumps out the window and he falls on Chris O'Donnell.
Breaks his fall perfectly, as he puts it.
Verbatim. That is what it said. And Chris O'Donnell gets pissy with him too.
Yeah.
Just because why not? And they arrange a duel for 2 p.m.
And yeah, Chris O'Donnell even says, 3 duels in one day. Like, he's learning. He's learning that he's kind of an asshole a little bit.
Maybe I should dial it back a bit.
Shut the fuck up for a minute, huh?
Yeah, oh, by the way, I'm also running away from a currently active duel.
He has
the longest duel in history.
4 or 5 dudes that are trying to kill him, and now 3 more. Like,
yeah, I mean, that contest is not decided. Even up to the end credits of this film, it is still up in the air who won that fight.
Yeah. So yeah, he ends up going to meet them for the duels, and the Cardinal's men have found the Three Musketeers to arrest them. And this guy says the same line twice, but dies after the second one. Oh wait, do they go to the bar first?
So there's a couple of little details that happen before this. First, it's small, but Chris O'Donnell actually meets Kiefer Sutherland at Musketeer headquarters.
Yeah, that's when he picks the fight.
Kiefer Sutherland's kind of like mourning the disbandment of his cadre of people. And then, in between the duels, though, we get a kind of a random scene. I think it's kind of useless, actually. It bothered me because it was weird. It's Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen hanging out in a very dark, dingy bar, and Rochefort just like walks in with the King's men, who have red uniforms, by the way. Musketeers wear blue. Yeah. Important note.
Yeah.
And then Oliver Platt drops a lighting fixture on top of the King's men.
Yeah.
And Rochefort gets held up at sword point by the 3 of them and just leaves. But the one reason we have this scene, because it's not an action beat, it's just like a brief confrontation where very little is said. The one detail that's really important is it's revealed that Rochefort was a musketeer.
Yes, it is important.
So he knows the 3 of them.
Well, I think that the reason why they're coming after him is because it was an all-hands muster. Like, we need all of you guys here. If you're not here, it's going to be an act of treason, I think is what the point was.
No,
they don't
I
say
get
that.
it. It's just the actual events that transpire there. It's like there's not much that happens. That would have been a nice spot for like an action beat or something, but it's very lackadaisical, and the only real important information that changes hands in that scene is that Rochefort was a musketeer. You gotta
introduce it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a few too many reveals towards the end of this movie, so I guess it's important to get it in early.
Well, I think
to space it out a bit.
We have to remember the source material here. This is a book.
Yeah.
So he might have been a much more important character in the book. I haven't read that book, but I'm not really sure.
Maybe someday.
Maybe. No, probably not. I'd rather read the Count of Monte Cristo. Another thing to remember also, I believe when this book was written, the Catholic Church was in its plateau at the height of its powers. Like, it was especially in Europe, like it was the Catholic Church, whatever it said went, and that's why the cardinal is so high up.
Oh yeah, the papacy was quite powerful.
Quite powerful. I learned quite a bit about the Catholic Church at the university. I went to a Jesuit college, and it was Seattle University. apparently there was a brief time there where popes were just like they thought of themselves as like kings. Basically, they would like dress and like battle. They were beyond kings.
Yeah, no, I mean a king rules over a land. They rule over a people.
Yeah, pretty much
spread out across the entire planet.
That's why Tim Curry is so cocky in this, because he's just like, I run.
Oh yeah, he's just like stroking it in every scene. That's why he wears the big robe, so you can't see it.
Yeah, he's stroking it. He's stroking it.
He's just like half chub throughout the entire fucking movie.
So yeah, we get our the Cardinals break up the duel between the three of them. He's like, "Oh, you guys are musketeers." Chris O'Donnell sees
funny little detail when they show up for the duel with Chris O'Donnell, the lot of them, they all have their musketeer gear on. Mm-hmm. Their blue musketeer robes, which as soon as the King's Men roll up, it's like, oh, well, I guess you're the musketeers. Yeah. and there's three of you.
He's like, I've been looking for you guys, and he's like, we found us. He's like, well, it's gonna be no honor in me killing you today, and they're still gonna fucking fight him. Like, he was trying to find you guys. You could, okay, fine, don't have a brother out. But that's broken up, and they're gonna resist arrest. Of course, of course, we're gonna resist. Just give us a minute to group here.
Their little huddle is actually very cute. Yeah, like I enjoyed that.
So they're duking it out. No musketeers die right now, of course, because it's a movie. But they defeat the guys.
Yeah, important to note. Despite being a Disney movie, death does happen quite readily in this film. It's kind of funny in these kind of swashbuckling movies, like especially for little kids. Like Hook, for instance. Mm-hmm. I think
Rufio and Rochefort get very similar deaths.
Very similar. I think there's a lot of pressure to minimize the violence, so kids can watch it, because that's primarily the audience for this kind of entertainment, at least at that point in time. So they do this thing in a lot of like American movies, especially like old Hollywood stuff. Like, I don't know what it is about white guys and swinging on ropes. But like white guys just love swinging on ropes and drop kicking fools.
I fucking love it. I always thought it was the coolest thing. I would pretend like I was swinging on a rope when I had a rope swing. It wasn't low enough.
I don't know what it is, but just like if a white guy sees a rope, he's got to grab it.
Best white guy rope swing: Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Kevin Costner when he saves Little John's wife. He looks at it too. He sees it.
Oh,
and
he does the instincts. They just kicked in.
He had to hold himself back because he was like, "I'm gonna jump." No, he does like a little nudge, like he's gonna do it.
No, he looked at it in his Terminator vision. He was going beep 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 beep. Yeah, Eagle 1, Fox 3.
It would have been better if he was just like, woo!
That's what it should be. I mean, it should be fucking Harold and Kumar. Extreme.
Rufio dying in Hook. Spoiler alert. That's a heavy death in that
Dante
movie.
Bosco. Dante Bosco. Go.
Because it's tough. That's a tough death to swallow on that movie.
Oh yeah, no, everybody loved Rufio. He was
three of the shortest people in film history.
Dante Bosco's voice has not changed an octave since he was like 5.
You got Robin Williams, and then like an inch below that you have Dustin Hoffman, and like 2 inches below that you have Rufio.
There you go. Oh, what about like Linda Hunt?
But I think Linda Hunt could beat
Linda Hunt versus Danny DeVito.
I think Linda Hunt could beat the shit out of all three of them. I saw her in T2.
Oh yeah,
she was buff.
No, that's Linda Hamilton.
Oh,
Linda Hunt is the
oh yeah
from
Kindergarten Cop.
Yes, The Year of Living Dangerously was the big one, but Relic, she was in
That's what I was going to say. She was in something I just watched recently.
Yeah. Short people.
But anyway, so
people die in this fight scene is what I'm trying to get at. And
they do.
They die via sword, and they die via falling.
Yeah.
And we get a little tidbit here where Charlie Sheen says a prayer for one of the dead people, one of the guys who Chris O'Donnell killed.
Yeah.
And it's just like a little side bit it's attempting to add depth to his character.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he gives a shit.
He takes it seriously.
While he stabs people.
They're the only two that like one takes their drinking seriously and one takes death very seriously. Oliver Platt doesn't take anything seriously. But yeah, so for some reason the Musketeers take off, and then Chris O'Donnell's like, I gotta go do some other shit. But then the Cardinals men come, and they end up
Rochefort takes him out,
and he's put in the dungeon. Rochefort puts 2 and 2 together. He's like, oh, I killed the fuck out of his dad.
He grabs his sword.
This is a nice sword.
The magnificent sword.
I think the only reason why he's being arrested is because he was associated with them. And then he pieces it together like, oh, you're his son. So...
Well, he also killed a dude.
Yeah, he killed... That's right, he did kill the man. But he wasn't there when that happened.
Yeah.
I think what he just saw was like...
There's bodies everywhere.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
But he ends up escaping, and we're introduced to Rebecca de Mornay. So, real quick, I don't know if you've seen Rebecca de Mornay in anything besides Risky Business.
No, I think that's it for me.
So, Rebecca de Mornay is probably one of the most beautiful actresses ever. I think she's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, she has a presence about her, for sure.
Yes, she's a bombshell. She was in a movie called And God Created Woman, where she is, I believe, a female con artist or something. I've seen it I've seen some of it a few times. It's an 80s movie. She escapes from prison, and it has Frank Langella and her.
Big guy.
And it is softcore porn. Like, she shows all of it several times, and there are some gratuitous sex scenes.
Okay.
Not quite as gratuitous as Predator 2. That was right there. That was hardcore. That was NC-17.
They had to build a brand new camera rig just to frame that correctly.
Jesus. But yeah, that's why I was introduced to her. That's when I saw her. She should not be in this movie because she is in a different movie. She is in like Dangerous Liaisons, like Great Expectations, Seductive. Like, this is a Disney movie, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple of angles in this movie that are like, woman! Woman is on camera!
She threatens to cut his dick off. Like,
yeah, that's actually one of the better lines in the whole movie.
He goes to squeeze some boobs, and I like his face, too. He's like, he gets a snarl.
Yeah, he gives an Ultimate Warrior scrunk, just like...
He turns into something else. He turns into an incubus or something. But yeah, she goes, I still don't get that joke. She goes, he's like, snapping my fingers, I can send you back out on the street. She's like, and with the flick of my wrist, I could change your religion.
Oh, circumcision.
Oh,
I could make you into a Jew.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the best lines.
Because I was thinking castration, and I'm like, what religion do you castrate?
Not the whole thing, Kyle.
Like, I remember
just the tip.
I remember
the tip.
Like when Genghis Khan, I know those guys. You know, I thought they
Krippendorf's tribe.
That's pretty funny. I could change. That is such a good joke. Oh my God!
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Thank you. Circumcision. So she is a part of the Cardinals' plan to overthrow the throne. She is a messenger. She's also a widower of a count, so she's hella rich.
Yeah.
But she's not a good person for more than one reason. And
she lets you know with the tone of her voice. Like, she's evil. She's got a lot of dead people in her closet.
But yes, Chris O'Donnell is found. He's heard everything that they're saying. There's some kind of important time when something's going to be passed off. Same thing in Count of Monte Cristo. There's exchanging at a certain time, like, meet me at midnight with this little envelope to send to somebody.
So what am I supposed to do? Find a sundial or some shit?
Jesus.
And then, like, bug some bartender, like, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
The hourglass ran out of sand. It could have been like 2 hours ago when it ran out.
Like, did you flip it at exactly the right moment, or did you wait a while?
How
did you wait a while?
How do you know when to turn those things?
I don't know. How does
it.
one keep proper time in an age before Timex?
I don't know, man. I don't know how people bought plane tickets before the internet. So. It's a mystery. I don't know how they did it. But yeah, Chris O'Donnell is found out again.
Yeah.
And he basically is like, suck my dick, man. Like, I'm not telling you shit. Even if I did know where they were going, I wouldn't tell you. So he's going to get his head cut off in the morning. He's done pissed off the wrong person. So he's going to get his head cut off the next day. And he's taking it pretty well, I'd say.
He's not like whimpering or like saying prayers or anything. He's just kind of hanging out.
No pee stains, nothing.
Yeah.
So, also, I forgot to mention that Michael Wincott, Rochefort, it's funny, he says it by his first name. He says, what's your first name? He goes, D'Artagnan. He's like, D'Artagnan? How do I know that name?
That's a name I've not heard since.
And then he looks over
and wanders off.
Rochefort, and he's like, yeah, his dad took my eye. I'm like, how the fuck would you get that from his first name?
I did like that was exchanged through gesture. Because Tim Curry's on the other side of Chris O'Donnell, and he just like
Points to his-
he just points to his eye patch. And he's like,
But you see his face light up.
he's like,
I think it's because he hates Rochefort, but
I think he does.
I think he does.
Rochefort is the Starscream of this movie. Like, if you are at all familiar with the Megatron Starscream dynamic, basically Starscream is the whipping boy. Mm-hmm. Who Starscream, his charm was always that he was trying to usurp Megatron's position. He was always trying to take over. Rochefort doesn't seem to be that ambitious, but man, he gets ordered to do pretty much everything. Like, if there was a toilet seat to be lifted, he would be told to lift it.
He is the same character in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I don't know what it was. Maybe there was a stigma against Michael Wincott back in the day, but it's just like he's always like the secondary villain. He's not the chief villain.
Think about who he's second to in that movie. Alan Rickman in Robin Hood.
Good luck trying to top that, buddy.
And then Tim Curry, two of the greatest British over-the-top villains you can have. Like, these guys have got it down. Like, they were built to play those characters. And, like, you're just kind of weaselly. You're not weaselly enough to be a weasel, and you're not quite a leading guy.
Well, and your bone structure makes it difficult. Like, if he was to go over the top and try to be goofy like the two of them are doing, it wouldn't sell.
No.
Like, it would just be weird.
He's I think he does well in Alien Resurrection. Like, he's just kind of quiet and reserved.
Yeah, no, he's very good for what he is in that movie. All 5 minutes of it. But actually, I really liked him in this.
He's good.
When he finally gets to throw down at the end, damn, he earns it all back. Like, whatever like expectations you had for him, because there's a lot of build up to him doing something in this movie, and he does everything you expect him to.
When Chris O'Donnell finds out he knew his father, he's like, "You knew my father?" He goes, "Oh yes."
Yeah, he just comes just a little bit. Just
he's like, I've been waiting to tell you for oh my god, I've been waiting for this for so long.
And even his body language when he whips off like his coat, and he's just like, okay, let's
fucking
do this.
Right, dude.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
He's just ready to go.
Training.
Yeah, no, he's like, I was there every day.
He does an incredible job considering how many cigarettes he smokes.
Oh yeah, his stamina, man. I'm sure he got like 2 strokes every take, just like ting ting. It's like, okay, cut. Ting ting.
No filter. So where are we at? So he's about to be beheaded. Now, I read that I think there's a few books that Alexandre Dumas wrote about the Three Musketeers, and this scene in particular, the Three Musketeers are going to break him out because they've got a crush on him. They're like, we like this kid.
Yeah, he's the whoopee.
So this actually happened in one of the books, not in this book that the film is based off of, but another book. I think
it seems like a popular. I mean, there's too many parallels between this and like any Robin Hood story ever told. I'm pretty sure the same scenario happened there. Pretty sure the same thing happened with William Wallace at some point. Like,
possibly. I don't remember.
It seems to be a very common trope in medieval stories. Is the hero gets captured and then his friends save him.
Oh, and he gets when
William Wallace doesn't get saved that time, but
when he gets captured, he gets captured.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then some.
But yeah, I seem to remember something like this playing out in like Robin Hood.
That's at the end.
That's
the whole end thing.
I mean, I think that was actually in the Robin Hood that I grew up with, The Adventures of Robin Hood from the 1930s.
Jesus, I can't believe you watched that.
It's on my fucking shelf, man. I love that movie. And that's part of why movies like this just don't quite work for me. It's because I grew up with fucking that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the archery tournament directly plays into him being put on the chopping block. And Robin Hood Men in Tights, the hangman scene is maybe the best scene in that whole fucking...
It is the only...
The hangman is fucking great.
Sorry. Fagulous. That's the best.
Fagulous is pretty good. I like the
so...
Hangman and the Godfather. I think those my favorite.
Oh, Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise.
You're absolutely right.
My favorite is when the dude is explaining, like, he keeps repeating things back verbatim as to, like, what's going to happen. I will take this tissue from you and put it in my pocket. And Dom DeLuise has this part where the guy, like, talks right before he's about to. And he's like, I was just going to say that. And he grabs this bag of nuts and he throws it at him. He just gives him this look like, you fucking shithead. I was just gonna say that.
Welcome back to the Chris Farley Show.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, we're trying to walk a line here of, like, not the Chris Farley Show and actually trying to positively critique
well,
movies
we're talking
we like.
about movies that have something in
Yeah.
common with this. And,
Yeah.
I mean, those were somewhat contemporaries. Anyway, back.
Yeah.
So, they're at the fucking
I
chopping block.
wasn't scolding you. I was just like, I see what he's saying now. Like,
Yeah.
where this isn't the Chris Farley show. I'm like, yeah, I've done it. I've definitely done some Chris Farley show here.
So, bringing it back to the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
They're there. The Three Musketeers.
Yes, so they bust him out and they go on a carriage. This was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Is the carriage scene.
Really?
You get a lot of good Oliver Platt. This is good
I
Oliver
guess
Platt.
I guess if that's what's drawing your eye. But
Yeah.
I didn't get much out of it. But
That's what I liked. It was just I just like the Oliver Plattness.
I mean, the music during all the chase scenes is like the best music in the movie. I think Michael Cameron did a good job doing his best John Williams impression.
But yeah, so they basically bust Chris O'Donnell out and they're on the run.
Yeah.
And they end up staying the night at some castle, like some town. I'm not sure where.
Yeah,
it's
it's like a tavern or an inn.
at.
And this is the winching scene.
This is the winching scene, which is, I think that's why, is because now we get some. This is the part where we're starting to get more Oliver Platt.
Yeah.
And we're getting more funny stuff to the story.
Well, this is finally the moment where, I mean, the Three Musketeers have not had much screen time up to this point. It's mostly been the D'Artagnan show and Tim Curry chewing all the scenery.
Well, Man in the Iron Mask, the same thing. It's all about Gabriel Byrne as D'Artagnan. Like, he's the main character. Well, he's the main character, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And this scene, though, is when we finally slow things down a bit and have some good conversation moments where we get to learn a few more facets of these characters.
Yeah, Oliver Platt's basically showing him, like, here's how you kiss a lady, and Charlie Sheen's like, you idiot, this is how you do it. And then,
Yeah, so there's supposed to be like three different types of mentors, at least in my mind. So
Yeah.
Oliver Platt's method of wenching, as he calls it,
which I do like.
Yeah, I do like the term.
I like
I
the
will
term.
never use it in,
Nope.
in daily speech, but on this podcast, I like it. His method is just dive right in.
Dive right in.
Just like attack the mouth and don't let go. And the lady seems happy with it.
Yeah, she digs it.
Yeah, she's very happy with it. She's probably being paid, but
Yeah.
And yeah, Charlie Sheen, though, his method is to recite a poem, which I don't actually know if it's borrowed from Shakespeare or if it's an original poem.
Well, he might be. The King James Bible is written by Shakespeare. I learned that from Brendan Gleeson in Kings of New York.
Don't tell them that.
You know who Bill Shakespeare was? He's the guy that wrote the King James Bible. I'm guessing that's who they're basing this off of. But yeah, it's probably it is Shakespeare, I do believe, that he's quoting.
So Charlie Sheen uses a flowery poem to woo the wench, the same wench, by the way, and then he gives her a very romantic smooch.
And then Chris O'Donnell tries his luck. He
tries both methods in reverse.
Yeah, both methods in reverse. And then
that wench, by the way.
the wench he chooses, yes.
Oh yeah,
yes. I mean, we're not comfortable calling women wenches. This is where they're referring to
in the credits. They're
they
credited.
winches.
Yes,
Yeah. Winch 1, winch boobs, and winch 3.
wench boobs.
He went for winch boobs. Yes.
Yes,
Winch boobs was yes.
Yes. Probably one of those little things I remembered from when I was like 6.
And then we go over to hi, I'm Kiefer and I'm an alcoholic Sutherland.
Yeah, when we get the downbeat moment.
The buzzkill. God,
Yeah.
he's such a fucking buzzkill.
Seriously.
Like he's like, what do we toast to? So Chris O'Donnell goes over to talk to him and he's like, oh, you can fight like a man, see if you can drink like one. Which is the dumbest thing you can say to somebody, by the way. Oh, see if you can drink like a man. There's no such thing. Drink like a man, you have 2 glasses of wine, then go to sleep. That's how you do it. Don't chug whiskey, idiots. But he goes over there and he's drinking. He's like, what do we cheers to? He's like, it's cheers to love. And he's like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a buzzkill. Oh, you wanna cheers to love, huh? Let me give you a really weird story for no fucking reason. And yeah. So basically,
it's not prophetic or
let me tell you
foreshadowing anything whatsoever.
Let me tell you the subplot of this movie real quick.
He like pulls out the script like
subplot.
Yeah. Okay, let's skip ahead a bit.
Oh, that blonde chick from Risky Business, she's gonna come back.
Yeah, she's not gonna get naked, but it's gonna be worth her time. I swear.
Oliver Platt. Boom. He's 6'4", by the way.
He's a big guy.
He's huge.
He's a big guy. Michael Cera and him. That is a size discrepancy.
Michael Cera. Oh, yeah.
For year one.
Oh, we got to go one episode without mentioning year one.
Cannot.
Oh, cannot. Yeah, so he slams down the table, having a great time. Oh, he's in what is it? I want to dance. And he starts dancing, and then Kiefer Sutherland knocks him out because he ruined his happy time with with
I didn't quite get that. It was just like the oddest of scene transitions. Just like, what do we do here? It's like, just hit him.
But we get
look at the size of his head. You can't hurt him if you try.
We get one of my favorite things. I didn't realize it until I watched this last time. A Kiefer Sutherland chuckle.
Oh, yeah.
He goes like, it's really, he is a nice little chuckle, and it's like, because I'd never see him in movies where he laughs. I've
often.
Never heard him laugh.
I can't recall, actually.
He doesn't laugh in Dark City, does he?
I hope not.
Yeah, I'm playing a nerd in this movie somehow.
He probably he would have a seizure if he was in character trying to laugh.
So, I mean, we're cruising along here. They're going to get ambushed here in a minute, but real quick, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And I think I text this to you. I'm like, this was how somebody sold Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, it's a funny example because I feel like you're probably right, but the production history of Pirates of the Caribbean is one of those like long stories where it's like, apparently the top brass at Disney wanted nothing to do with it. The head producers were all just like, no, get that shit off my desk every time somebody would bring in the script. And eventually it was just like through sheer force of will that I think it was like Jerry Bruckheimer got involved and they got Gore Verbinski to direct it. But it took years for this to get greenlit. And I feel like both of these movies, though, have that in common where they both have that old Hollywood appeal where somebody in a position of power looked at the script, looked at the possibilities of it, and saw it as like an opportunity to pay tribute in like a Mel Brooks kind of way to that which came before. Yeah. Because these older folks in positions of power are like, yeah, I grew up with cowboy movies and Errol Flynn and stuff. I want to see horses and I want to see some white guys on some ropes, damn it. Yeah.
In that order. But the Pirates of the Caribbean made me think of it because they go on an actual pirate ship. It's an old ship, but and I saw it, I'm like, Swashbuckling, pirate ship. I'm like, well, Disney.
Those
like,
those movies were really big at a certain point in time. Not so much anymore. No. But yeah, I mean the ship in this movie, somebody took the time to construct or rent a fucking ship and put it in a sound stage with all the fog machines.
Yeah, so they stay the night there, and then they're leaving, and then they're getting bombed at by this castle.
Yeah, it's kind of a useless action beat. The only reason it's there is to emphasize the point that Tim Curry has sent off 1,000 carrier pigeons to all of France. So now all the mercenaries and all the land are on their tail, and we even get like a goofy scene where a bunch of guys that look like they're dressed in uniforms, but I think they're all just supposed to be individual mercenaries. They're like, it's like 100 guys on horses chasing them.
I always think of it as episode 4 when the bounty hunters is like, these are the best bounty hunters in the galaxy. Yeah, they're gonna go find.
Where's Bosk? Where's the Lizard Man? Yeah, where's IG-88?
I had that toy. Not IG-88. I had the other dude.
You had Bosk, the Lizard Man?
You know what's really funny is that fat guy who cries when the big Banta dies at the end of Jedi.
He was just crestfallen. Like
he took it hard.
Yeah, he raised that probably from like a pup. Like you could tell his heart was in it.
He cries like a little girl. Jeez. But yeah, so we have an action sequence. I don't really want to talk about Tim Curry's whispering serpent to the queen and the king. Like he's manipulating them, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, the queen subplot was very. I could take it or leave it. I'd probably leave it, to be honest.
It's that we don't need it.
I mean, both the king and her are
dumb.
So you take like the sincerity of Chris O'Donnell's character, and you dial it up, way up to like 11, to the point where they're unlikable. Where it's like, okay, I get it. You're this pure soul that like young love and all that.
I just think that the actors are so like they're just bringing different tones to the movie. The movie has the same tone. I feel like it's just the actors, like the character, how they're playing the character changes the tone. Yeah. The movie pretty much stays the same. It's whimsical and actiony, but yeah, it's just Rebecca De Mornay's and like this is not that movie. This is a Disney movie.
Yeah. So, which brings us to a confrontation in the wilderness,
Yes,
where our group gets separated.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland decides he and D'Artagnan are going to break off.
Mm-hmm.
So him and Chris O'Donnell are in the woods. They're being shot at from like many, many, many different angles. They're pinned down.
Yeah, it's Mel Gibson in the woods with a hatchet. You think it's a bunch of people, but he's just moving like a ghost through there. He's got all kinds of guns.
Well, unfortunately, they don't have his sons with them,
Yeah.
so they can't maintain the illusion.
Aim small, miss small. So they're getting shot at, and Kiefer Sutherland's like, dude, you have to get back and warn the dudes about this. And then Chris O'Donnell's like, no, I can't let you die here. He's like, I'll fucking shoot you, dude. And then he leaves. Chris O'Donnell goes as hard as he can, then Gladiator falls off his horse and falls asleep.
Actually, it's very apt.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. He gets picked up by Rebecca De Mornay, and she's like, he's cute, let's take him back.
Yeah. So they put him in the carriage, and he wakes up in her chamber.
I don't think she saw him when he gets captured by Wincott.
No.
So she doesn't know who he is.
She doesn't know.
But he's young and dumb, and he's explaining the plot of the movie to her, and she's like, "Oh fuck, you are warning the king about me."
Yeah.
So, who's the Asian guy playing Parker?
Oh, I can't remember his name, but he is in so many movies.
He's in a lot of stuff.
He was in Lethal Weapon 4.
Yep. He's in Lethal Weapon 4. I believe he's in one of the Rush Hour movies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I believe he's Chinese.
I recognized him.
He's there for a very specific reason.
To
to die in a Indiana Jones inspired fashion.
Have you heard of Oliver Platt? Yeah, you're gonna die by his hand.
It's like, well, that makes sense. I mean, he's enormous. It's like,
how does he get out? Like, she can't leave because... Oh, no, she does take him with, but her brother-in-law is coming to kill her or some shit, so she has to sneak out the back door.
We get some silly bullshit. We get some silly shenanigans, which I guess speaks to the fact that this was based off of apparently multiple books.
Yeah.
They have a struggle. She tries to shank him, and he manages to fight her off a little bit. And
She's like 5'3". Yeah, he's gonna...
Yeah. Good point.
He's got her.
But, and if I remember right, she and her guys take off in a hurry, and they bring him along.
Yeah, bring him with.
And they head off to the ship, which is what got Kyle thinking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
The Nautilus, if I'm not mistaken.
It was something Greek, and I think you're right.
I think that's what it was.
And yeah, they get to the ship, and turns out the entire crew is dead when they get on the deck.
It's a real Jurassic World. Is this the second time?
It's the Lost World.
There was another we just talked about, Deep Rising.
Deep Rising, yeah.
Oh, they got ghost shipped.
Ghost shipped.
They got ghost shipped.
So yeah, everybody's dead, and turns out that Oliver Platt and Charlie Sheen are ahead of them somehow.
We get some great comedic scenes here.
This is where we get the trailer shot. Yeah, where the unfortunate Asian man does some, Ki does some kung fu posturing, and Oliver Platt responds in kind with and then he chops a rope that opens a trapdoor that causes him to fall and maybe die. He waves at him.
I would assume there's an alligator down there, but
I thought of it as just a pale imitation of, Indiana Jones shooting the swordsman. So it's like, hey, we need an ethnic guy to die in a silly fashion after putting on a cool display. Nobody swings on a rope in this scene, I don't think.
Nope,
or maybe they do. Yeah, you're right. They do.
Yep.
A lot of people get thrown overboard because that's what you have to do.
Yeah, it's effective. I mean, it's hard to get up out of the water like that.
And yeah, there are ropes. It is a ship. And you can sure as hell bet there are some white guys swinging on them.
If you think that we're going to have ropes available on a ship and not have white dudes swinging from them, you are mistaken.
It's like, that just seemed extraneous. Like, why did you do that? It's like, do you see how many fucking ropes there are?
You see the rope burn on his hands.
Charlie Sheen's is like, ouch, my hands.
Or you see somebody slide down, they didn't, no, I know how to do it. And then they didn't know to use their feet, and you use the hand to balance yourself a little bit, and you actually use the feet to slide down.
I would have loved to have seen,
he slides halfway down.
Oliver Platt and, Charlie Sheen, like running around with burnt hands.
Fucker.
Kiefer Sutherland shows up late and he's like, "What are you shitheads doing? Are you playing on those ropes again?"
Calm down, Dad.
Yeah, speaking of which, he does show up.
He does show up
with no fanfare. He just survived 100 guys shooting at him.
So I actually, he just survived that.
He just shows up at the ship and meets Rebecca de Mornay.
He calls her Sabine, and it's interesting. I read that she's referred to by several names because she's kind of a con artist.
She's a hard woman.
Yeah, but she goes by different names, and this is one of the names she does not go by. She's never been gone by the name he calls her.
That would have been pretty funny if she just was like, "What?
What?
Did you forget my name, asshole?"
She's been marked a traitor. Subplot.
Like literally marked.
Yeah, literally marked. She's gonna get beheaded in the morning.
Philip Tan, by the way, is the Asian fellow.
There we go. She's gonna be beheaded in the morning, and this is one of those. This is one of those scenes in the movie that really like kind of like Rufio dying. Like this was a really heavy scene for me. Is that instead of being beheaded,
oh yeah,
she jumps off a cliff.
No, in my notes here, I said Rebecca de Mornay's arc is supremely fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, it is supremely fucked up because she just jumps off like as a kid, you're like, oh damn. So this is even crazier because she was about to be put to murder. She's about to be put to death for murder, but she's literally like given an out. Like she's asking for forgiveness. She's gonna die, and she commits suicide. If you are not well versed in Catholicism, you go straight to hell. Straight to hell. And I grew up religious, so I knew that watching this, I'm like, oh shit, like. Damn, like this is a really heavy moment, especially considering how much Catholicism is a part of this movie.
Oh yeah,
it's a really interesting thing to throw in. And I'm sure it's in the book too.
I think that's probably why they kept it. It's a weird thing to keep though
for a Disney movie.
For a Disney movie, that's heavy.
And quite a few Americans who were Catholic, and then kids especially would understand. Like that's something you learn early on too, is all the bad shit you're not supposed to do.
And they cut to a wide shot of her falling. Too. Yeah. They didn't have to do that.
No.
She could have just gone off the edge and you have a music cue and Kiefer Sutherland going, no. But no, they show her at distance. I mean, the impact is obscured by a rock. But you see, I don't know if it's a dummy, but but you see someone fall. And yeah, I don't know what she was thinking. She probably wasn't. But
I just think she didn't want to die by somebody else's hand. I think she's like, fuck you guys. You're not getting me.
She Titanosaurus herself.
If you saw Danny McBride and This Is the End, where he just goes out into the smoke with the middle fingers, that's kind of what she does. So yeah, now the big thing is we're moving up to the king's birthday, which it's a huge deal because it's supposed to tell the people of France they're about to go to war, and he's like, we don't want to cancel your birthday because we want people to think that everything is fine. Mm-hmm. But the reason why is because the cardinal is going to have the king assassinated that day.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the big thing that the Musketeers have to go stop. And kind of heading into that now.
Yeah, so by intercepting her and getting that information, they've prevented this dark alliance from occurring.
Very important, yeah. She tells Kiefer Sutherland right before she jumps off the cliff.
Yeah. So now, though, is the business of reestablishing the Musketeers and getting the king rightly on the throne.
Is that you notice that music pops up here and there? The reason why I wanted you to watch that music video too, is because every time you hear it, you just think of those guys.
Yeah, the melody it worms its way into your brain.
It's there,
and it pops up throughout the movie.
Yeah,
and we get a rally the troops montage.
I like a good rally the troops montage.
Well, this is a decent one. Yeah. It is very convenient though, given how many people we saw burn all their shit.
They have backup uniforms. You got more than one uniform.
Do they though?
I think it's them ripping them off was symbolic. I don't think they had to do that, but that was like, yeah, fine.
No, I mean, if you like kept the camera rolling just like a second longer, some asshole would have run into the fire and like grabbed the sword and been like, oh fuck, actually I do need this. So yeah, the Three Musketeers ride through all of France, I'm guessing, and put up shoot. They do a very Robin Hood thing here.
Yeah, that's exactly what
they shoot. They shoot arrows and notes against trees, saying basically, "Let's all come to the palace together and storm the castle."
Yes, they rally the troops, and we don't really get too far. Like we're like, okay, they get into the palace, and it's just the three of them as far as we know. That's what they think too. It's like, well, hope some people show up today.
Yeah,
literally.
Well, yeah. Everything is set up for a sniper.
Yes.
So the palace scenario, and this is the climax of the movie, where
Yeah.
if you ask me, this is where the movie finds itself entirely. Like, the rest of the time, like Kyle mentioned, the tone does kind of... It dips and dives into some weird spots where it's like, I can't quite tell what you're trying to make me feel right now.
Yeah.
But the last half hour of this movie is solid.
Yeah.
It's solid, enjoyable stuff. So Tim Curry's plot, Richelieu, he has a sniper posted up on like the balcony overlooking the square. And the idea is his man is going to take out the king as he's overlooking the crowd.
Yes.
So the team splits up, and Chris O'Donnell is going after the sniper, and I guess the rest of the Musketeers, though, are on the ground.
Yes.
And then we get this, like, massive brawl where Chris O'Donnell intercepts the sniper at the moment he's firing, and then the jig is up, so Tim Curry's like, into the palace!
Yeah. Oh, that was close!
Stay in your rooms!
You were smooching with my brother.
You were smooching with everybody.
He's the best part of that second one.
He runs into the palace to get his cheese pizza.
Pizza. Brought to you with compliments of the Plaza Hotel. He goes in and then he's just like, fuck it. I was gonna kill you. Now I've got you.
So now, like, the cardinal finally reveals his true colors, and he's just like, "Fuck you, king! I'm gonna take your throne." And then in the square, turns out all the townspeople were mostly musketeers, and they whip off all their fake disguises, and they have their blues on.
Real quick, my favorite Tim Curry scene in this is where he's like, he tells them the whole plan, like any Bond villain will do, and he's like, he sits on the throne, he's like, but there's still room for a queen. She's like, I'd rather die. And he gets up and goes, that could be arranged. Like, it's fucking good.
No, it was great because he maintains his composure throughout the entire film.
Yes,
basically.
he does.
It's like that one moment, because we haven't talked about this because we kind of haven't been talking about the queen because her subplot sucks.
Yeah.
But this whole time, he's just, again, he is stroking it through every scene he's in. And he keeps making these innuendos and, like, allusions to getting it on because there's kids in the audience and they're the ones who are watching. So it's like, as a kid, you're watching this, you're like, I know he's creepy right now, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But as an adult, it's like, oh, damn.
Dude.
Like, he's a little rapey right now. Like,
well, he even says to Rebecca de Mornay when he sees her, he's like, you would make even the most chaste man, like, blush or something like that. She's like, you don't have the burden of chastity.
Yeah, no, he just oozes sexuality throughout this entire movie.
Well, if you've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, you know that he oozes sexuality.
Yeah, but yeah, that one scene when he's yelling at the queen is like his one moment where he gets to be just like...
Yeah, he gets to finally scream.
But yeah, real quick here, I have a note that I wrote earlier in the movie while I was watching it. Tim Curry's acting method consists of repositioning his head with every point of emphasis. Also, he is horny as fuck throughout the entire movie.
Oh yes, he's very horny. I think it's just
But yeah, he does this thing where, like, every couple words he, like, dips and ducks his head and just, like, gets a different angle.
I think that, I mean, if you think about how he plays, I've seen the clips of him playing the devil in Legend, and like he's very sexual in that. And but him playing, I can't think of, is it Dr. Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen it.
Oh God, we can't even do an episode on that because you just need to watch it.
I know,
it's so good. I don't even like musicals, and it's just really good. He's the best part of it. But he, in that movie especially, he's just very sexual in the way he talks. And it's when he's being bad. And I think that's...
he's just so damn animated.
Yeah.
Like, every part of him just has an energy to it that's really fun to watch. And there's a reason why, like, everybody latched onto it. And it wasn't because it was a good horror movie or anything like that. It was because he was enjoyable. And for a little kid, it's like... when things scare you, you do that thing where you run away from it, but then you, like, creep back up on it because you still want to look at it.
Yeah.
But it's creepy. But he's just so goddamn charismatic. You can't help it. And even fucking Congo. He's pretty awful in Congo, but he's still the best part of it.
He's the only good part of it. I have some stuff I want to talk to you about off the air, about Laura Linney in that movie. There's something about her. I find... there's something interesting about her in that movie. But anyway.
So yeah, our musketeers storm the castle. Chris O'Donnell gets a neat, like, Buster Keaton moment here. Where he's
yes.
hanging from a flag, and
isn't that the original Robin Hood?
They did some stuff like that. Again, white guys and hanging off of things, it's just a thing they do.
Doesn't he go down by the knife? Doesn't he slide down by knife?
Yeah, I believe that was in there.
But do you remember the Goonie? You didn't see the Goonies.
I haven't seen the Goonies.
Can't catch up on that either because that's just a movie you need to watch. I don't need to defend that movie.
But yeah, we get a nice gag here where he's hanging from a flag that's hanging over the palace square. Yeah. It's very obvious that they built this whole set, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And you can tell that the actor was legitimately high off the ground because we have a whole bunch of extras doing their plating on the ground.
Cling.
Yeah, there's a lot of tink.
There's a lot of tink.
But yeah, he defeats the sniper with Oliver Platt's help, who just casually pulls out a flintlock pistol and shoots this guy at distance. His pistol gag on the ground is my favorite moment of his in the entire movie.
His trident,
the sword breaker.
Oh my god, just the way his
ha.
No, he does the way he does it is kind of like fuck you, dude. Like
he even has that line earlier in the movie. It's just, I love my
work.
Yeah, where he pulls out the bolo and or the bola.
The bola, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Oliver Platt. We get our awesome moment where the Three Musketeers are in the square fighting all the King's men. They all get their moments to shine. A lot of people get stabbed.
Yeah.
But Oliver Platt, I say, has the best moment maybe in the entire movie, where he's demonstrated to be unafraid of using simple tricks and nonsense to beat people, other than just straight up swordplay. Yeah. So earlier in the movie, he uses a sword breaker and a bola, and in this scene though, he just does this thing where he whips his robe, his musketeer robe, and he surprises this guy with just a pistol he had under his armpit, basically, and he just gives this Errol Flynn-esque ha, and just bam, just at point blank shoots him. A man died.
Yeah,
this is a serious thing, but I'm laughing.
So there's a reason why I watch this movie probably once a year. It's because of him. Yeah. Him and Tim Curry.
Which brings us inside the palace where shit gets real.
Shit gets real. Kiefer Sutherland is fighting Michael Wincott.
Oh yeah, they get a nice stare down moment where, I said, he whips off his cape and he busts out D'Artagnan's sword. Yeah. D'Artagnan's father's sword. And they go at it one-on-one for a while.
Three eyes glaring back at each other.
Oh,
so they're going at it, and Wincott he's supposed to be the superior swordsman, because he does catch Sutherland in his fighting arm, basically.
Yeah, he stabbed him.
He's kind of just toying with him almost, where he's just
even his facial acting, he has that very good villain facial acting where you can tell he's relishing it. Mm-hmm. And he puts his whole body into these swings. It's kind of cool to watch because that's what fencing should look like.
Yeah. Well, it was 6 weeks of fencing lessons.
Yeah, it's not just shoulder rotator stuff. It's hips and lunges and
people think that boxing is just swinging your arms.
No,
no,
not quite.
No.
He acquits himself quite well in this one scene.
I kind of want to go back and watch that Count of Monte Cristo because Guy Pearce was supposed to be an awesome, his character in the movie is supposed to be really good.
I remember there was a lot of hype around the swordplay in that movie. That's actually why I watched it.
I've got to rewatch it. I haven't seen it so long.
There's that trailer moment where he jacks his sword. He tips it, and it the hilt flips over into his hand. That is a stunning gag.
I forgot about one of my other favorite things. This is the high five. The high five that Oliver Platt and Charlie Sheen do is the little cling, the high five. I fucking love that. I think that was probably Oliver Platt's doing. I feel like that's just something he and Charlie Sheen would probably do.
The camera was probably running. Charlie Sheen was probably half awake and was just you want a high five? Okay.
Charlie. I did a nose tap.
Yeah.
You got any blow? Come on, buddy. I'm 6'4" and Canadian. I can't move this quick.
I got kids, man.
By the way, I don't know if he's ever done cocaine. I know Charlie Sheen has, but I don't know if Oliver Platt has. So.
That's a very large cranium, man. I don't know.
Big head.
Yeah, you could go broke trying to keep that habit up.
So much fun to hang out with.
He does seem like it.
So Michael Wincott is fighting Kiefer Sutherland. He injures him, and now it's D'Artagnan's time to fight the man that's killed his father, although he doesn't know that yet.
Yes.
So Charlie Sheen is going after the Cardinal. Oliver Platt is doing something else right now.
Yeah, he's just fucking around in the background.
And
he's probably like taking a breather.
So there's something in this movie. The Cardinal escapes through a door that's in the wall, and that's something that's in Man in the Iron Mask. It's actually an important part of that movie. That must be in the book, or it must have been.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So
we get Tim Curry dismissing Charlie Sheen.
Yes, he says, "Stand aside." And
stay in your rooms.
He's like, "Now you have to answer to God," and he just fucking blows him away. You don't know that Tim Curry, because he's wearing a huge cape the entire time. You don't know that he's got one from the hip just pointed right at him.
So he's unafraid, and Charlie Sheen has him at sword point. Yeah, Tim Curry just blasts him square in the chest.
First, and then he goes off into the walls, and Oliver Platt's like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, he's like, Charlie. I mean, Aramis.
Yeah, I mean,
Wild Thing. I mean, Aramis.
It'd be a pretty heavy death, because I mean, Charlie Sheen's barely been in the movie, but he's so charismatic. When he gets shot, you're like, well damn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It is supposed to be a big moment. I'm not sure how effective it actually was, but Oliver Platt sells it. He's
saved by getting shot. His crucifix that he has.
Yes, because he is a pious God-fearing man.
So they're like, okay, now we have to go chase down the Cardinal, and I think they split up at this point, because they're like,
the three Musketeers all run into the dungeon and go their separate ways.
Yes. They do another high five sword tap here, and Chris O'Donnell and Michael Wincott are doing their stuff. We get
there's some stairs, some banisters, we get classic swashbuckling stuff.
There's almost a shot shot
Ewan McGregor backflip. some like Phantom Menace kind of shit.
I don't understand what it is for people in swashbucklers to get on higher ground in a place that's like a room. Like, I don't see how you have an advantage in a room.
I don't see how you would have an advantage swinging on a rope.
I think I just think so we can get that shot of them jumping over the sword, and it's in Robin Hood not Minute Tights, Prince of Thieves.
If you're not ducking under a sword, you are jumping
over. We have to do that in this, and then we get the boom.
And then somebody has to swing on a rope, and then somebody has to kick a barrel or something down some stairs.
Or a flaming carriage, which is
carriage. We already got a light fixture falling on people.
Yeah,
like candle, like wooden light fixture.
Robin Hood.
So we've checked all the boxes, is what we're trying to say.
My second favorite Oliver Platt part of the movie is the dungeon part with the ugly guy, because there's some funny shit in this. Ugly.
What does he call? He says you smelly something or other.
No. When he meets Rochefort, originally when he goes on there, he's like, Rochefort. Isn't that some kind of smelly cheese?
I'm sure that was just improvised.
I think that was because there is a cheese called Rochefort or something like that.
I'm sure.
I looked it up because I'm like, man, is there a smelly cheese called that? It's blue. It's like gorgonzola or like blue cheese.
Yeah, their little dungeon showdown is pretty grisly. Actually,
it's pretty brutal.
If I can remember right, I think I was actually kind of creeped out because the lighting in the dungeon is very intensely dark and heavily shadowed and creepy.
It's like the beginning of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Like
it's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
And that guy has creepy makeup. Like I said, he looks like he came out of Dick Tracy or the Rocketeer or something.
I was gonna say The Hills Have Eyes almost because he's really gross.
Yeah. And the way he meets his end is pretty fucking gruesome.
Yeah, he gets impaled
in multiple places.
Yeah. And then Oliver Platt thinks he's dead, and he's
yeah, of course, for the kids in the audience, that's just terrifying.
And he jumps back, and it's kind of like what an Iron Maiden was supposed to be, except it's
just on the wall,
like a Connect 4, just like big grids.
It's like a claptrap or something, but like rigged up from the ceiling and embedded in the wall.
Yeah. It does not look like Happy Fun Time.
So then we cut back to what Chris O'Donnell and Michael Wincott.
They're still going at it.
Yeah, they've been going at it for a while.
Michael Wincott's going to have a heart attack soon. And they're chasing after the Cardinal. And like, where did you get off to? And he's like, I'm fighting something ugly or something like that. So they meet back up. And we get back to Michael Wincott and Chris O'Donnell. And this is where Wincott pretty much has him against the wall. He's bested him, and he's like, stupid, just like your father. And he's like, oh, you knew my father? And he did the, oh, yes. And this is where we come back to, we said at the beginning that Chris O'Donnell's girlfriend in this is inconsequential because
it's the lady from American Werewolf in Paris, isn't it?
Correct. It is American Werewolf in Paris lady. She's a French actress.
Oh, definitely.
Not my favorite of the French actresses we've covered so far, but I mean she's pretty, but she's not my favorite.
She's French.
She is French. You didn't see that. Spider-Man 3, Bruce Campbell.
Look it up.
So when you're introduced to her, you could tell that she's got the hots for him. He's got the hots for her. She comes back one other time to talk to the queen about love. Yeah, vaguely.
She's one of the queen's ladies in waiting.
Yeah.
He meets her because he's trying to save her from some bandits.
She's like,
it turns out it's her escort.
Queen's own bodyguards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she doing an Irish accent?
Maybe she learned her English from an Irishman.
Oh God! Oh my goodness!
But yeah,
that's funny.
There's a theme in the story where D'Artagnan has this thing about love. She has a thing about love. The king and the queen have this thing about like true love and stuff. And
it's all
Kiefer Sutherland is there to tell him that's full of shit.
Oh, it's all full of shit.
But yeah, she shows up and does she help him get his sword back?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, is that Wincott is literally about to stab him.
You're no musketeer.
And then in 2 movements, pops the sword up, he catches, and immediately into his chest. And he gets one of my favorite famous last words.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Go ahead. Can you hang on? Can you get the mucus and blood into the back of your throat?
I don't think I can.
It's hard.
It's hard. But yeah, he said the preceding line as Michael Wincott has his sword hanging over Chris O'Donnell, he says, "You're no musketeer." And then Chris O'Donnell sticks him, and he says, "I might have been mistaken."
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I said Michael Wincott is fantastic in the climax. "I might have been mistaken" is right up there with, "Aw shit, I picked the cute one," as far as last words are concerned. If you don't know that one, watch Batman Returns. It is worth your time.
Oh
shit, I picked the cute one.
Oh, it's almost time because I watched the thing too early. Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, man.
Christmas time.
That is.
And it's very much it's a Rufio getting stabbed scene. Like it's straight, like from the kind of POV, you're getting the shot from like where he's sitting, and he's stabbed right in the heart.
Have you ever seen The Secret of Nim?
No.
One of my favorite cinema stabbings. It's animated, but there's 2 rats who are having a sword fight. It's an awesome sword fight. The villain Jenner, one of several villains, but he gets poked, like not like run through,
impaled,
but he gets stabbed just good enough where it's like he's not getting up for a while.
Gotcha.
And his reaction to being stabbed is very different because Michael Wincott,
he does a really good job.
The subtlety in his face is like you can tell he's like, I'm not ready to die just yet, but I'm dying.
Yeah.
And he just like his entire skull is just entire cranium is just clenched, every muscle, and he just kind of
eases back. Yeah.
Yeah, he just eases back onto the steps, and it's a beautiful death.
It's really good.
It really is.
Yeah.
I definitely applaud it, but Jenner, though, when he gets stabbed, he goes like, ah! Like he shrieks like a fucking banshee, and he like slinks off into the darkness, but he doesn't die.
So he has just as good, if not a better death scene in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Because he gets stuck in the gut by Alan Rickman, and he does like a like it's a guttural noise, and his all the blood is in his face. Like,
so add that to his list of talents. He's a good dyer.
Oh, he's good at dying. Maybe that's what it was. Like he's like, no, dude, like you can't be a leading guy. We have to kill you. You're just too good at dying.
You need to die though.
He does really well. He dies in that Along Came the Spider too. I just don't remember how.
Oh, see, I haven't seen that in so long.
It's been so long since I've seen it too. I just know that he's not the bad guy. He's like he's kind of a red herring. Like he's
well,
not...
I mean, look at him. Fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Alien Resurrection, decent death too.
Yeah,
like
pretty good death.
Good from an acting standpoint. Kind of lame from like what actually happened standpoint. Like, okay, he gets bit.
Yeah,
he gets bit, and then he pukes, and then he dies.
I think this one is a little more subtle than Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but Prince of Thieves is pretty good.
No, excellent cinematic death.
Yes,
like I tip my hat to him.
Yes. So now we have to get to the Cardinal.
Yeah. So we're on the River Styx again.
So
right back where we started.
I think this is probably the funniest part of the movie. They do a horrible job of wrapping up this movie. Great job killing Michael Wincott. That's a great scene. And then we get to Tim Curry, and Kiefer Sutherland and Oliver Platt are like, literally, they could jump onto the boat from where they're standing, and because it's not even a motorboat. Like, he's Bond villain. He's kind of like a Bond villain.
He's
like,
very slowly getting away.
Yeah, he's on a rowboat. It's not even a rowboat. It's like the stick boat that they push off the ground. Like, and he's like, "You're too late." And I'm like, really? Like, I could jump into that boat.
You're too late.
I don't even need a running start. Like, I could just jump in. And he tells them, is like, the Duke of Buckingham's gonna fuck you guys up. And they're like, too bad we intercepted the letter. He's like, a minor, like, that's just a minor speed bump, basically. Yeah. I'm going to get away. I win. And then Charlie Sheen, for the third time, I think.
How many times do these guys just appear in the right fucking place?
Like 3 fucking times. He pops off his horse, like, I don't think so. And
I don't think so, Cardinal.
There's a scuffle with the king and the queen and one of the guards, and Charlie Sheen's about to do something, and fucking the king.
It's the ending of Dickstown.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, hey, my hands hurt. You want to handle this, brother? Instead, it's the king instead of Ham or whatever.
So, the king, who I don't believe can punch him this hard.
Yeah.
Even with the haymaker, like he doesn't have. Yeah. It's like he looks like Frodo. He looks like Elijah Wood. Like, that's about how
that hair and that nose, man.
I'm just saying, like, if you take that nose and just shrink it down a little bit, he's Elijah Wood. He's like the same height and stature. Like, he's just that big.
Built like pretty.
But do you want to tell them how Tim Curry meets his end in this movie?
Yeah, so the king does indeed catch Tim Curry on the chin, and he falls off the boat. And then we cut away from the scene, so he never actually comes back up. He just falls in the water. And then he's never seen or heard from again.
That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
That's it.
I need to read at least how he gets it in the book.
I mean, like, if you wanted a sequel bait here, you do the Skeletor thing where he, like, pops up out of the water at the end and says, "I'll be back!"
I mean, I don't know how the book ends. I don't know how Cardinal
Richelieu?
Yeah, I don't know how he gets it in the book. So it's kind of a really not big deal that how he dies.
I mean, it also, it begs the question of the complexities of the papacy and stuff. He is a fucking cardinal.
Yeah.
He has the support of the papacy, which is probably greater in power than the French... the French monarch.
Yeah, it absolutely is. At this time especially.
If you wanted to, he could probably just keep carrying on.
Yeah. So he needs to die. That's the point.
He needs to die.
Well, they can prove him of treason because of the letter. So
I guess.
So,
but we don't see any of that.
I'm assuming that I think that he doesn't die. I think that's what we're getting from this, is that he's going to go to court, but we just don't get that in this movie. Like, we can't make this movie any longer. We've already got the one good death in here. We can't kill him.
Well, what I would have preferred to have seen is they're pushing along on their boat, and then Gomez and Fester Adams like around the corner behind them.
You don't know, that's one of my...
It's basically the same set with different lighting.
But that's one of my favorite scenes from that movie is Gomez singing with Fester on the boat, just because he just goes straight into it like he's been warming up for hours.
That is a cinematic pairing I'm so sad we were robbed of.
Yeah.
Raul Julia and Tim Curry.
That would have been a lot of fun.
Going head to head.
What could they have done?
Anything.
Man.
Anything.
Well,
I would have watched
after
it
this,
and
we're
it.
gonna brainstorm a little bit, but we might be able to find a movie for
The
him.
bulging eyes and the enunciation.
They could have been they could have not quite brothers, but they could have been cousins or something.
Yes, we got brothers, but what would they be?
I think they could be cousins or some kind.
Maybe there's like an inheritance or something, and like Raul Julia he's like from New York, and he gets called to the UK, and then he meets his long lost brother Tim Curry.
Could you imagine if Raul Julia would have survived to see Wes Anderson? Because in Wes Anderson movies, everybody's pretty like monotone and doesn't really do, but there's one character like what's his name? World Tenenbaums, Birdcage, Gene Hackman. Like Gene Hackman's like the one kind of loud character, and then Grand Budapest. You've got Ralph Fiennes or
Rafe, I think is how it's said.
Rafe. Yeah, like he's like the one kind of charismatic character. Could you imagine Raul Julia in something like that?
I just wish he made more movies.
Yeah, I know.
Just not to go out on a down note here, but
we digress. Yeah.
But yeah, so the way we wrap up this film is I think we just do like a simple fade from the river Styx and Tim Curry going in the water to the king's throne room. D'Artagnan becomes a musketeer, by the way.
In a Star Wars. Oh.
Yeah, no, it is totally the throne room like medal ceremony, just with shittier music.
No Chewbacca.
No Chewbacca.
I think the Queen's pretty hot too. She's a little bit prettier than Carrie Fisher. That's not.
And then we all run out to the square because we got to use that set for all it's worth, as well as all the matte paintings that we made to show that this is indeed a whole city.
Yeah.
And then our friendly
D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan comes back and he wants to continue the duel. This duel has never ended, by the way.
Nope.
From the beginning of the film, it's still carried on, and Oliver Platt tells Chris O'Donnell that, hey, we got your back.
It's so corny the way he does it. We don't just protect. What does he say? We don't just protect a team. We protect one another.
Yeah, it's like you could tell his contract was probably up, and they somehow twisted his arm to get him back for one more day.
I just have one thing real quick. This line I say very last. Can we do that first? Oliver Platt talking to the director. This is a really dumb line. Can we do this first so it's just out of the way and I can do all the fun stuff now? Because that's the dumbest line he has to say. It's the one time where he has to be serious, pretty much.
Protect each other. And see, Chris O'Donnell's genuine reaction probably just would have been it's like, why couldn't you have been like this when I first met you? I wouldn't have gotten buddy with you. God, you suck.
God, that's gross.
That's gross. Just put that away. Go get drunk or something. You're way more fun when you're drunk.
Is Charlie out of coke?
But the entire musketeer brigade charges D'Artagnan and his brothers. They chase them out of the square, and the end.
Yeah, that's the end.
Literally the end. It's funny because the way it's shot, the angle, it makes me think of nature footage of a buffalo stampede or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And those dudes are gonna die.
Which Disney actually has a very long history of producing.
Oh yeah, I saw Lion King. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow, we kept this to an hour and 36, about as long as actually last time.
It's a 2-hour film, man.
Yeah, we cut out the parts about the king and queen, so
I like our cut better.
I do too. So what did you say? Would you watch this again? Did you think it was pretty good?
I wouldn't willfully put it on again, but if it was on, I'd at least leave it on for the Tim Curry bits and the Oliver Platt. They were immensely enjoyable, as was Michael Wincott. And like I said, it really finds its footing in the last half hour. So if I turned it on and that part was on, sure, I'd stick around for that.
Yeah, you can kind of skip. You kind of skip the beginning. I'd say once you get the three of them on screen together, okay, now we can start watching the movie.
No, it is not a low effort film by any means. Every aspect of it is given love and care. There's not a single bad performance in the film, not one that I noted. Everybody's in it to win it, and the only thing that hurts it for me is that I have some history with these kinds of movies. Like I said, the first one of these movies I saw is one of the shining examples of them. So when I see the swordplay and all the tropes and stuff, it's I've seen this done better. Yeah. Without the weird silly bullshit. But yeah, it's a good solid Disney live action film. I like that they kept the killing. Yeah. It's nice that they didn't do a Ninja Turtles 2. I don't know if you recall, but Ninja Turtles 2, they weren't allowed to even use their fucking weapons.
Oh yeah, that was because of I think nunchucks.
Yeah,
or something.
Kids were beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, I remember.
And Leonardo, who is notable for having 2 fucking swords, never draws them except to throw them in the ceiling and use them to basically do the equivalent of white guy rope action.
Go ninja, go!
Yeah, so I'm very happy that they preserved the swordplay and they allowed Chris O'Donnell to kill people and stuff, because I could have seen Disney like being like, no, we can't have that, it's for kids.
I was gonna say, like, this I think helped give us Pirates of the Caribbean. Honestly, this movie did act like it had a decent budget. It made its money back. It didn't double.
I don't doubt it. Like I said, the marketing campaign was very aggressive for this film.
I
remember the marketing better than I remember the film.
Yeah, I remember the film better than the marketing. All right, that's pretty much it. All
right, great timing. Looks like we're gonna be recording something back to back. So thanks for listening.